Welcome to the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast, where we break down what it really takes to win in short-term rentals in today's market. From insider tips and emerging trends to real conversations with top playmakers in the space, this show gives you the tools, strategies, and mindset to build and scale a successful short-term rental business. Now, here's your host, Joe Roney.
Today's episode is brought to you by Savvy STR Agents, the short-term rental real estate experts helping investors find profitable vacation rental properties nationwide. If you're serious about scaling your STR portfolio, Savvy STR Agents should be your first call.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Playmaker Podcast. Super excited to have another Savvy STR agent, Lance Wolfe, here today in the Space Coast, which we just had a big space launch. So Treasure Coast, what do you call it?
Both, actually. I'm kind of in both markets. So I got half the Space Coast and half the Treasure Coast. So
awesome.
All of the Treasure Coast. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in like 110 miles of coastline here on the East Coast. So
excellent. Great area to invest. It's funny. We actually met in Panama City Beach. We had a mutual client that was going to buy a short-term rental that you were going to co-host for. That deal didn't work out, but you had already joined at that point. I think you were already in Bill's inner circle at that time.
I sure was. Yeah,
so,
he actually started looking here in this area, and I was kind of just like, let's look up here. I know this area better. But then after talking to you and really diving into my market, I'm like, why am I not looking here? Like I could have found him something here. People don't really talk about this area, which I live here, and it was kind of the same thing. So
yep,
that's what kind of got us up there.
It is kind of an untapped market, but it's also a great market because it is untapped and there is tons of potential in that area. So I guess tell everyone where this is. So you're south of Cocoa Beach, north of Miami. What's the parameters there?
Yeah. So the bottom of the market is Jupiter. So Jupiter, Florida. And then the top is Satellite Beach, which is just south of Cocoa. So pretty much the whole way in between. Very diverse market. Jupiter is the kind of the luxe, the lifestyle asset, cost of entry is higher, but ADRs are higher as well. And then on the very opposite north end is like Melbourne Beach, Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach. And that's the beach surfer kind of vibe market. Hutchinson Island that goes up the East Coast is super duper skinny all the way up until it gets to Melbourne. And then it kind of goes out. So you can find the houses that aren't beachfront or riverfront. So, you can get a good deal on those. And then everything in between is like the quiet, quaint fishing villages where, you have Vero Beach, Fort Pierce, Jensen Beach, Stewart, and they're all just cute little towns. The downtowns are amazing. It's all local. There's no commercial stores and stuff in there. And then right at the end of every downtown is the causeway to get over to the beach. Yeah. So you can enter there for a really good price, $300 to $500 or so, and get 5 minutes to the beach and walking distance to downtown.
Wow. And I mean, there's so much to do in that whole area too. I mean, you have spring training baseball, right, in Jupiter in that area, right? Because I know our Cardinals, that's where our spring training is happens. Plus,
and the Mets are in Port St. Lucie, and then I think it's the Dodgers in Melbourne. So there's 3 teams in my market.
Yep. So you're getting early spring income for people that are coming down for that. You get snowbirds in the winter months because you're far enough south, but you're still a summer market where you still make have a good summer peak season. Yeah,
there's few like peak season. Spring break is probably one, but you go from 65 to 70%. Not a huge peak, and then usually come like September is like the heart of hurricane season. So people tend to not travel. And if they do, just insurance. And if the hurricanes come, and then they just get their money back and don't come. But
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can go a couple more years. We went a whole year this past winter without a hurricane hitting Florida. We're going to vote for that for the next couple of years as well, because it's
Yeah,
really
I
good
vote
for
too.
insurance. So,
Yeah, for sure.
so before you became a savvy realtor, you obviously invested in real estate yourself and co-host. So tell me about your investments that what you got you into it and where you're co-hosting.
Okay, well, us like so many in COVID era, we purchased in 2021, and we knew absolutely nothing. It was like, let's do it. We found a cool little cabin in Bryson City, bought it, had no idea of anything, and then just started going. Oh, this is good. Like, this is what I would want. This is what I would do. And then, we're super successful with it to where within, 2 years, we sold it for about 150K plus, and then upgraded to a house in Asheville and did the same thing, decked it all out, where it was a $750,000 purchase. Our year one, which is June 1st, we're going to make about 160 on this house. And it's all just from what would I want as a guest?
Yep.
Set yourself high standards and do that for your homes, and you go.
Yeah.
And then, we're showing our house, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then, friend sees it. Hey, we're thinking about buying a condo here. Okay. I think, we're going to use one of these big box property management companies. No. Like, let us do it. We'll do it. We're not ready for it, but please don't use them. Go with us.
Yeah.
And then friend of a friend, and then their friend of their friend, and then just posting on social medias, just are organically gathering more. So we're primarily in Western North Carolina at the moment. We have six properties there. And now I'm picking up 2 more co-hosting clients here in Melbourne, Florida, in my market now. So, the push to get a couple more co-hosts here and then just keep rolling. So, we don't want to be big. We want to have, the personal touch of our properties. So, I don't want to get so big to have to hire a whole team to run it when I want to run it myself, because I want it to run like I want it to run.
Yep. Similar situation to where we do ours, and we pumpkin plan. We dropped 4, and we're back down to 10, and I'm happy. And we do have 2 more that we're onboarding, I think, next month for. But other than that, I don't really want more, and I think that's the right thing. I love you co-hosting in your real estate market too, because I think you're going to be able to push that envelope and show what really can be done, similar to what we did in Panama City Beach, because there's so many operators in your market that are just part-time operators, or they're the big PMs that set it and forget it. So you think you'll be able to do some decent revenue, at least increase from what you're seeing that those are houses are doing now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the 2 houses I'm going to start managing, they're listed on Airbnb, and then they had just their website, direct booking website, and no VRBO. And you could click on like Airbnb for like to book tonight, and it was like, $1,800 a night. You go to July, $1,800 a night. But then you go to their direct booking site, and it was like $500 for the night. And you're like, oh my goodness. So they were only doing revenue management on the direct booking site, which I guess they're trying to drive people there to avoid fees and stuff. But it's like, come on, like you're missing out on so much revenue. And then to see the revenue that it made with them doing that was like, holy cow, like you're in the green already doing it that way. So I expect to make at least 20-25% more doing what I do.
I think that'll be huge. So how you feeling? We're you and I together in the process of 72-hour fasting right now. So we got our water. I think we're at we both started around the same time, so we're around 44-ish hours, 45 hours, somewhere in there right now. So when did you start fasting? Because I think this is an intriguing subject to talk to people about, because there's so many health benefits. There's so many things. I feel amazing right now, being 45 hours with no food. But when did you do your first one, and what was the reason?
Mainly just for, I did radiation oncology for 20 years. I treated cancer. And then, you just see what's going on. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but it's like, what can I do naturally to avoid some of this. And you start kind of diving in, you start looking at what to do, what to try, biblically, they fasted, the monks do this, and you look at like diseases and sicknesses and cancer, it's like almost unheard of in those kind of environments. Now, again, I'm sure they eat a lot cleaner than the average American does as well, but any little bit helps.
Yes.
So, I had put on probably, an extra 10 or 15 pounds. So I was like, let me try it. Just Dr. Brecca, the ultimate human, we just started following him with supplements and all this. And it's like, hey, let me give it a try. And the first one was a colossal failure. It was, I wasn't ready. I didn't really prep. I just had a big meal the day before and then stopped eating. And then it was one of those very stressful days at work. This was before real estate. And then to where I had the brain fog, wasn't going well. I forgot to pick up my daughter, from school, which she was in the same parking lot, but it's just like, I look at my watch and I'm like, oh, I forgot. So I like sprinted over there to get her. And my stress level was to the max. And I just almost collapsed probably 45 hours into it and just had to eat because of stress,
Yeah.
But now this is my third one. I'm trying to do them like 3 times a year. And now like the last one was piece of cake.
Yep.
Just got to the end. It's so mental, which is why I really like it. Cause I mean, if you cannot eat for 72 hours, you're prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it started, and got through the second one very well. And it was one of those, like, I needed to eat. 72 hours was at the end of the day. And I'm like, I can make it. I can just go to bed again and, get 84 hours or whatever. But then it was just like my mind took over and I was like, no, I had to eat.
It's exactly what I did on my third one. My third 72 hour, I made it to 84 because it was the same thing. Some people like to start it in the morning. They eat in the morning and then they start their fast after that. I always do mine the night before. So I eat dinner and then go into the fast from there. And on that last one, or the third one that I did, I think this is my 5th. It might be 4th or 5th. I think the very first one I did was only 36, but as far as 72 plus, I think this is my 4th total. And, but the last one, I pushed it to 84 and it was great because it was at the end of the night. Right. And, this week, we're celebrating Easter on Saturday with my family. So I'm not going to wait because I don't want my first meal to be an Easter meal in the afternoon on Saturday. I'm going to have to eat small anyway as it is. But so I'm not going to make it to the 84 on this one because I still want to eat something small Friday night, have a small breakfast, and then be okay for, ham and whatever it is late Saturday evening. But it's for me, I haven't experienced the brain fog as much. I mean, day one, I will say maybe a little bit. It's, towards the end of the evening, I definitely get a little crabby and groggy. And, I think I was in bed by 8:00 last night. I was tired. And, but today I woke up refreshed. I went and did a 2-mile run this morning. I got more work done from 8 a.m. to noon than I probably did the entire day yesterday and maybe even the day before combined. And, I have more mental clarity now than I did, before I started the fast. And tomorrow will be even better because I found that from that 48 to 72 for me, that's like the most clarity I have out of everything. It's that 24 hours is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. I ate a little less than you did probably on Tuesday. Like I had, a cup of yogurt for lunch and then bone broth for dinner. Yeah. And then it's some Baja salt in my tea. And then that's pretty much it. I'll have like 4 or 5 ounces of coffee in the morning just for some sort of prize.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm going to try to make it till Saturday morning. Feeling good. Yeah, like you said, it was funny. I went for a run this morning and then I got back and was going to post it. I saw you had just said the same thing. I was like, oh, should have ran an hour earlier. But it's amazing because like I ran a lot. I ran half marathons. I kind of last 5 years or so, not so much. But when you're 48 hours in with like 30 calories, just because of the coffee,
Yep.
it's amazing. Like I'll take off running and within, 100 yards, I feel like I'm on mile 10 and I got the runner's high and I just feel great. I feel amazing. And it's
Yes.
like, I just got around the roundabout. And so it's just so weird to not have, any, any food, any calories on board and still be able to do this when, you look at, people eat before a workout because, to give my fuel and stuff like that. And you're sitting there like, you got it all in here already. You don't have to do that and carb load or whatever you're doing before you get a good workout.
Yeah. And, you kind of talked a little bit about the conspiracy or the health benefits. And, we started a similar process about 4 years ago. Actually, I guess it was almost 5 years ago now. It was 2021. Went to one of those wellness doctors and, it was not your traditional doctor. It was, someone that's a little more holistic, did full blood
Functional
panels.
medicine.
Yep. Internal functional medicine. And it was life-changing for us. And I can honestly say, since I started that process at the end of 2021 to today, I can count on one times how many times I've gotten sick. And since I started fasting over the past year and a half, I can count 0 times that I've been sick. Maybe a sniffle, maybe a cough that lasts half a day. When my girls both had the flu this year, I was with them. I took care of them the whole week. I didn't get the flu, but they both were, officially had influenza A, and both were down and out for, 3 or 4 days. And I was with them the whole time, but I never got it. It didn't get past me. And I think that between the vitamins and supplements that we take on a daily basis, the doing the fasting, eating right is great too. I can't say I'm always great at that. I have my ups and downs. March was, not great for me because I was traveling a lot, and it's hard to eat right when you're traveling a lot and you're all over the place. But I will say that taking care of your body, the podcast before this, I talked about your why. Like, what is your why? Why do you do this? And no matter what you do, if you don't take care of your body in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, what's the point? Right? I mean, do you want to be the old grandpa that can't get out of bed, or do you want to be the active grandpa that can go spend time with your grandkids?
Absolutely.
So, and I learned a little bit of that at Bill Faith. You've seen his journey from losing 100+ pounds, and he did the same thing a couple of years ago. And it's funny, as I go to these different events in this community, especially, I mean, I've met more people that have given up alcohol than I've ever met in my life that don't even drink alcohol anymore. Some like us that just, have the occasional that don't indulge like we probably did in our 20s. And then, others, eat, whether it be eating right or getting personal trainers. Like, there's such a big thing generationally right now with getting into this health phase. One of the stats I actually found recently was the alcohol companies are down 30%. And
wow.
You're starting to see them actually make non-alcoholic beverages. Like, you can even buy non-alcoholic rum now. So
I wonder what the percentage up like of marijuana is.
We're gonna probably say triple digits. I would guess. So
yeah, I think they're just going from one to the other. But yeah, I like you were talking, like I can count on one hand how many times I've had alcohol in a year, and like you said, 0 that I've been like I had to couldn't drive home or was beyond. It's just like, yep, we're out to dinner and I have an old fashioned and that's it, and it's 3-4 hours later and whatever, I'm home and no, I don't want it anymore. It hit 40 and like your life changes. Like, it's like, do I want to drink this or have heartburn? So I don't want heartburn. So, but
I'll also say on the heartburn piece, because I used to get heartburn really bad. Since I started this health kick, I don't get heartburn anymore. Like, I can count on one hand how many times I've had heartburn in 4 years. And I used to get it multiple times a week. Like, Tums were my best friend before I did this. And we put ourselves through these things and put our bodies through this stuff to party and do these different things. But then we, that next day or 2 days or 3 days. And there's still been times in the past year that I've done that, but it's definitely not like I was in my 20s, but man, it's so much better when you don't have to worry about that.
Right. Do you
So,
have any uh, things you don't like about the fast?
um, honestly, no. I mean, the first couple of times I did it, I got bad headaches. And it was because I wasn't
Salt?
drinking enough water or having any salt or anything with it. Now I put a little bit of lemon in my water. I have at least one unsweet tea every day. I don't do coffee, but I do unsweet tea, so I get a little bit of caffeine, and that
Hmm.
prevents the headaches. And actually, for this one, I found Propel has a 0 calorie, zero nothing in there. It's just like a watermelon water, and it's actually good for a fast. So it just gives you a little bit of a flavor. It's less than 5 calories total, and so it doesn't break your fast. So having some of those little things can do it. Now I've never done the Propel until this one, but I actually researched it and said, yeah, this doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it. It doesn't. It's just
Yeah.
flavored water. So it's salt. It's mostly salt and baking soda. It has in it, and some flavoring, and that's it. So adding those couple things has made it easier, and I don't have the headaches anymore. So that was
Yeah.
my biggest issue.
Yeah. I had told you I'm doing sparkling water this time just because it, fills the stomach up a little bit. And,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's just mineral water. So I don't have to put as much of that Baja Gold mineral in it because it's already in there. But like, so you know, did you ever have any, the first time I made it like into true autophagy, like my wife walks past me and she's like, "You stink." Do you ever get that?
I don't know. I might have to ask my wife. I don't know.
She must not be as blunt as mine.
Oh, my wife would be. My wife would be. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. So, but I kind of took it as, wow, what is my body getting rid of?
yeah,
Like if I haven't eaten anything, and all of a sudden it's just like this weird like metal smell, to where it's like, wow, like what's in me? And then of course that was the first true one. And then the second two, it hasn't happened.
yeah,
So it's like first fast in 45 years. And it's like my body's just getting rid of all this nasty stuff that just comes out your pores.
yeah.
So
No, I think it's been great. I enjoy doing it. I try to do a 24 once a month just to kind of do a day. A lot of people tell you should do a 24 once a week, but there's so many benefits. So for the listeners out there, seriously, look into it. Don't go and do a 72-hour fast cold turkey on day one. Do some research. Know what you're doing. Know what if you have any health issues that may prevent you from doing this, because there's some people that do, but it definitely has some benefits. So want to shift gears one more time on this podcast because we have at the mastermind event that I went to in Whitefish back in January, we had the Points Partner come see us. And, Bill was raving about the Points Partner. He brought Owen up to Whitefish to spend a couple days with us. And you actually introduced him to the mastermind. So how did you find the Points Partner? And I mean, I think you're going on a flight you have a flight planned to like Dubai and all over the place that you basically have a bet on every flight for very little points. So tell me a little bit about that, because I think a lot of our listeners would probably benefit from that.
yeah, my wife was starting to look into counting points. So she just happened to find, him on Instagram, I believe, and just started following. And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Hey, well, I just joined his inner circle." And we're like, "Oh, okay." So, just like build short-term rental wealth, like once every 2 weeks, there's an 8 o'clock meeting, everyone gets on, and he's just like, just tells you what to do. It's, hey, who's got this many points on Capital One? Okay, transfer them over here, and you're going to get a 25% bonus just to transfer. Now, you don't have to use them, just transfer them. And then maybe 2 weeks later, you transfer them to somewhere else and get 25% again. So having someone like that knows all of that is just amazing. And then, we're in his inner circle. So he helped us find some flights. And so we're going to Bali in June. So it's from Miami to London, London to Seoul, Korea, Seoul, Korea to Bali. And then we're doing Bali, to Qatar, Qatar to London, London home. And so we have a bed on every single flight. And then one of them's a Q suite. So me and my wife are like bed to bed, side by side. It's like this sleeps two, kind of thing in the middle of the plane. And so all of that was, if we were to pay cash for all that, it was $43,000 to get over there and back. It ended up costing us 420,000 points to do that, which was like, I signed up for an Amex Platinum. It was 200,000 points. My wife signed up to, it was 180,000 points. So just signing up for those Amex credit cards pretty much got us to Bali and back and saved us $43,000.
Wow. It's, I had my meeting with them recently. We're joining and we're getting our first real credit card because, for those of you out there, like, depending on what kind of credit card you're using, like, there's so much you could be doing more. And, I had a Southwest credit card because we fly Southwest all the time. It sounded perfect, but the point system in Southwest sucks. And, we're really not seeing much benefits. I mean, yeah, we get the occasional free flight, to and from Panama City Beach, but it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. And if you're in a business like we are in and you're spending $5, $7, $10, $15,000 a month, man, take advantage of this. So the Points Partner, you can find them on Instagram. Lance brought them to the Inner Circle and to Bill's group. And I think half of the mastermind members now are either in his Inner Circle or have hired him personally. So.
Well, yeah, because all of us, spend so much money on our business or, ordering supplies for the houses. And even if we co-host, we still pay for it and just invoice. So, get those points stacked up and go to flight somewhere.
How long is that total trip to Bali and back? 2 weeks?
So we're flying to London and we're going to spend 4 days there. And again, you have to be flexible with the points because that's just, the points were the best at that time. So it's like, okay, well, we'll get on the train and go to Bath and, hang out at the Roman baths and spend 3 full days there and then train back, get on the next flight and go to Bali. And it's 8 days in Bali. And then, no really long layovers on the way home. So
nice. Well, definitely going to be an exciting trip. The whole family, just you and the wife?
Just me and the wife. Yeah, we actually won this trip in a auction. So
nice.
Yeah. Well, we didn't win it. We were the highest bidder. So don't go to an auction with an open bar.
Yes. So you won it with it, but you had to write a check to get it at the end of the day.
Correct. But it's still like, dirt cheap for what we're getting. It's like almost an all-inclusive resort. There's 4 bedrooms. Pool right on the beach, like yoga classes and breakfast and diving and everything. So
it'll be an
good price.
It'll be an unforgettable experience. It's exactly what I talked about in the last podcast on the why. And these are doors that open when you get to do businesses like this.
Absolutely.
So any parting words about your Treasure Coast and the investments that are happening in there? On your market and why it would be a good place to invest. And then how people can find you.
Okay. Yeah. Like we talked about to start this, easy intro. The biggest thing about my market is there's not a lot of people doing well design wise. It's just got the typical Florida homes. There's splash some turquoise color on there with some seashells and expect to do well. And then you have the ones that come in and design it super well and, have the pool and have some putt and game rooms. And they're just, absolutely crushing it. I see one of my friends has like a $295,000 house that he paid for last year in Vero Beach, close to downtown, not on the island side, just near downtown. And he's pulling $90K.
Wow.
It's because he's the only one that's doing any design work.
Yep.
He's got wallpapers and murals and, fun stuff in the backyard and fire pits and stuff. And just no one's doing that here. Jupiter is a different animal, but like I said, that's a pretty high entry point. You get some good condos down there that do really well. Um, and then same with Vero as all the other places. Just be close to the downtown that you can walk to and go over to the beach and enjoy. You can spring break. I could go to the beach and find a parking spot and not have to pay to park. And it's a pretty amazing place. And then Melbourne is, this like the space launch. We just had Artemis take off, which was amazing, and they're almost launched a rocket weekly up there now.
Wow.
So that and Kennedy Space Center, NASA, Orlando's now only an hour away. So a lot of day trippers come to Melbourne because they don't want to stay in Orlando.
Yep.
And just go up for the day. It's only an hour back. Enjoy the peace and quiet that is this part of the coast of Florida.
Awesome. Well,
yeah, I'm a Savvy agent, so you can find me at the www.savvy.realty/Lance Wolfe or Instagram at Lance Wolfe STR.
And I'll put those show notes, all that information will be in the show notes. So interested in investing in here, definitely hook up with Lance. He will get you in the right direction. And I appreciate you coming on to the podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yep. This has been another episode of the Short Term Rental Playmaker podcast. We will see you guys next week.